record and we're going live. I think I lost you guys. Uh, okay, there you guys are. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Health Hack Thursday, your weekly dose of real-life wellness tips, simple rituals, and inspiring stories to support your health journey. I'm your host, Melissa Patterson, and I help high-achieving moms release postpartum weight, exhaustion, and overwhelm so they can reclaim their energy, focus, and show up fully both at work and home. As a holistic health coach, I'm deeply rooted in my mission to bring healing through the power of plant medicine, combining years of both conventional medicine and holistic healing to support balance in the body, mind, and spirit. And I am joined by my amazing co-host, Megan Calito, a brilliant herbalist, aromatherapist, and a regenerative practitioner. Megan's passion lies in serving her local community through the healing power of plants. And she's also a devoted business owner who can visit her. So if you want to visit her beautiful herbal store right in upstate New York, let me see, I think she gave it to me. You want to go ahead?
You're in Oriskany.
I never could say it. And what's the name of your store?
315 Apothecary.
Ah, 315 Apothecary in something new.
Oriskany. No one can
Risky.
ever
I don't
say it.
know why that's so hard for me to say. But today we're actually really honored to spotlight a truly inspiring expert in the wellness space, Gina Marisa, a vibrant, purpose-driven transplant wellness specialist who's turned her powerful journey into a mission to help others thrive. Over 31 years, Gina received a kidney transplant, and that life-changing moment catapulted her into the world of holistic health and wellness. She proudly calls herself a wellness junkie, living each day with purpose, vibrance, and adventure. So today, Gina supports organ transplant recipients in optimizing their post-transplant well-being using holistic methods, helping them maintain their health, reduce side effects, and fully embrace their second chance of life with confidence. So we're honored to have you here, Gina, and let's dive in.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, so go ahead and tell everyone what happened 31 years ago that caused you to have this kidney transplant.
Um, I was actually pretty lucky. I found out by accident. I was seeing a doctor for something else. I was seeing a urologist for a different issue. And in the course of his workup, he had me do an x-ray of my kidneys. And that's when he discovered that my kidneys were dysplastic, which means that I was born with them. And so they lasted for the first, 21 years of my life or whatever. And then, you know, then I had to have the transplant a few years after that, after I found out. But he sent me to a nephrologist who is a kidney specialist. And that's pretty much, what he told me. He had me do a couple of things, like put me on a low protein diet, and I had to watch my potassium, and I ended up going on blood pressure at the time as well. Um, just to try and slow the progression. But he said eventually you're going to have a transplant. So that was kind of frightening as an early, 20 something. And, but I was super lucky because I was young, I was healthy, and I was able to schedule the transplant because we found it so early. So I didn't have any of the symptoms until, a couple of years later. And the biggest symptom that I can remember is that I was just super tired right before the transplant. And I did lose a little bit of weight, and I was already pretty thin. So, um, but then and all of my family was tested. My two younger brothers were tested, but unfortunately they were not a match. But your parents, I remember being told at the time are automatically a half match. So they were tested, and fortunately, they were both healthy. And between the two of them, they decided that my dad would be the donor, and my mom would be our caregiver. So that worked out. And so I never had to go on dialysis. And here I am 31 years later.
Wow, that's an incredible story, especially someone in their 20s. We're always worried about just hanging out and what's going on, what we should be doing on the weekends. And here you are having to have a kidney transplant and trying to find who can give you this transplant. Um, that must
Major
have been,
surgery. Yep.
yeah, it must have been very scary for you. Now, how did it really impact your life at the time?
So, as you can imagine, I was just kind of thrown into this, right? I didn't. I mean, nobody asked for for a chronic disease, but yeah, I was kind of thrown into it and really didn't know what to expect. Um, I only remember, my doctor saying there were certain things that I couldn't eat. I was going to have to wash my vegetables, every fruits and vegetables before I ate them because of, potential contamination. Because as a transplant recipient, you take medicine that lowers your immune system. So I have to be, really careful around sick people. And again, wash the fruits and vegetables. By the way, I don't do either of those anymore. I feel pretty resilient at this point. You have to take your medicine on time and consistently, which I do that. And but I also remember him telling me, you're going to be on prednisone, which is a steroid, and you're going to gain 50 pounds. And I remember sitting there looking at him saying, I'm 5'2" and I weigh 100 right now. I am not going to gain 50 pounds. And over the years since that time, I've kind of learned that, because when doctors tell you things like that, if you get, for instance, a cancer diagnosis and they say you've got a year to live, like a lot of people only live that year because it's gotten into their mindset. And I realize now that the fact that I told him, no, that's not going to happen to me, was I already put that in my mindset. And I'm happy to say I did not gain those 50 pounds. I gained like 19 or 20 pounds when I was pregnant, I think, but then lost, the baby weight. But so that kind of, pushed me into this wanting to learn and do everything I could to protect my kidney. Number one, because I didn't want to have another major surgery. Number two, because I didn't want to let my dad down because he gave me his kidney, right? Um, and so I just started like diving in and like became a voracious researcher into health and wellness and learned everything that I could to keep my kidney healthy. And that is still to this day at the very top of, my list of things that I do. Anytime I do something or take something, I'm always thinking about, is this going to be good for my kidney? So, and just have been learning ever since. I never thought, I wasn't somebody who really loved school, but I love the fact that I can learn about what I want to learn about now. And certainly the internet has helped that. So yeah, now I just, and to this day, because right, the science is always changing, and we've had so many um, advances since then. I think that eventually AI is going to be really helpful in the health field. So I'm really excited to see what happens next.
Thank you. Yes, we have also Megan who has the love of learning. And so, Megan, I want you to hop on. And as a regenerative practitioner, what is your take on Gina's story?
I just absolutely love that from the mindset. Like that is 110% because it is so true. And there's a book by Joe Dispenza. And even if you just listen to the first chapter of it and hearing his story on mindset, like the man was literally told that he would never walk again. This is how your life is going to be. And he said no. And I have so many friends that share stories that like the doctor told me this and I said, no, that's not for me. And then we go into this like, what can I do to support my body? So like even though we had to use allopathic medicine and get a kidney transplant to survive, to live, there are still ways that we can help our body and make it easier. Like there's so many ways, and it sounds like Gina has really like perfected that because you look vibrant and healthy, and I absolutely love hearing your story and how you use, and this is, I truly, truly believe allopathic medicine and alternative medicine need to work hand in hand for the best results. And like we do have to rely on allopathic medicine sometimes when we don't want to, but there are ways that we can, through diet, through exercise, through mindset, like all of those things really do impact how our journey continues and what we're having to deal with. So I just loved hearing that story because like you did all the things, and how do you feel? Like you
Yeah, and I did the things and I didn't know. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? I just like nobody told me, here, take herbs, incorporate herbs into your diet. And I completely agree with you. And I think kind of my thing is now trying to bridge the gap, especially for transplant recipients, between allopathic and holistic medicine, right? Because I, like you, agree, yes, we need allopathic medicine, but so many diseases out there right now are lifestyle. I was born with my kidney, so lifestyle probably wasn't going to change that. But I've changed my lifestyle since because I've learned about, healthy eating. And so I don't eat refined sugar and, stay away from processed foods for the most part. And I'm not perfect, I'm human. But I do believe that adding more holistic, um, methods into your lifestyle can be super beneficial. I firmly believe that that's, part of the reason that I'm doing so well. I feel really great. I have side effects, from the medicines, unfortunately, but I'm also using holistic, methods to kind of mitigate those side effects, which is why I want to share what I've done with other transplant recipients. Um, it's a little bit difficult, I'm discovering, because so many patients and recent transplant recipients are 100% not about doing anything that your doctor says, like there's, you know, I'm not taking vitamin C. My doctor said it's not good. Well, you know what? You're the only one in your body. You, the doctor doesn't know what's going on inside your body. They can look at labs, but they don't know how you feel, you know. Um, do I believe that you should check with your doctor on most things? Yeah. Again, I don't anymore. I kind of do my own thing. I saw a post this morning about a guy who said, I'm willing to be my own guinea pig. To an extent, I will do that as well. But, I think more people, and it is becoming more, mainstream. It's not as woo-woo anymore, which is great. So yeah, I'm hoping to bridge that gap.
So I want to add to that, coming from a medical background, and understanding like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do over like, this is what you should be doing. And honestly, I don't like the separation between medicine, your Western medicine and alternative healing. I think that they need to be combined together. And that's what I do to help my clients to really give them the most optimal health, to really have that understanding of your anatomy and then also knowing what you should be consuming that supports your organs to work properly, to function properly. And, I teach this education workshop where I teach people about the gut, the brain, and also your adrenal connection. Everything is all interconnected. There's not just one thing or the other. When your gut is screaming for help and it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it sends signals to your brain, and then it sends signals to your hormones and your adrenals, and then everything gets depleted because of things not working properly, and the other organ has to compensate. And when they're having to compensate, other things gets compensated. And then you have all these chronic symptoms and illnesses that do come up as an ailment. And so, yes, we do get sick. And like you said, you were born with yours. You didn't cause this, kidney issues. And then you have to have a transplant. Obviously, you can't do that holistically. You have to have a surgeon to take it out and put it back together, right? However, the holistic part of that is, supporting your body of pure natural recovery. So you're not sitting 8 to 9 months, wasting away, waiting for your body to recover. It shouldn't take that long if you actually support your body in the right possible way. So I love this talk with us, and um, I want to ask one more question before we have to get off here in about 10 minutes. But I want to know, like, what inspired you to take your experience and then turn it into a mission to help other transplant recipients?
Well, I've kind of always known that I wanted to give back to humanity. And I was in a corporate job as paralegal for 33 years. It just drained me. It wasn't a passion. It just wasn't. I'm like, how am I giving back to the world? Being a paralegal, all I'm doing is making, money for somebody else. So I've always had that feeling. And I started about 5 years ago as a mind body coach and helping people with stress. But that felt too corporate to me. I realized at the end of last year, it was just feeling too corporate for some reason. And so I decided, what I really love is the health and wellness, and I saw this gap. So I said, you know what, why not me? I'm 31 years post-transplant. I'm like a poster child for how to integrate allopathic and holistic medicine. So um, I want to share this. So that's how kind of I got here.
Thank you so much for that. Megan, did you want to add anything else before I close out?
I don't I don't really think so. I just think this is just an absolutely amazing story. And I absolutely I think that this is how most people fall into herbalism. Like that's my story too. Like that I wasn't getting any help from the doctors and I was like, I will be my own guinea pig. I will try it. Like something's got to work and I'm willing to do that and to try it. And so when we're dealing with herbs and advanced modalities and stuff like that, like the side effects or interactions are so much lower that it is really safe to try to figure these things out yourself. And then, we have people like Gina who have like literally, like you said, the transplant poster child here, and people like me who are herbalists and people like Melissa that have a medical background that can completely help hold your hand and guide you through that if you're not comfortable doing it yourself. So I love this talk and about bridging the gap between allopathic and alternative or holistic medicine. So
Yes, there shouldn't be any separation whatsoever because it's good for both. I mean, both are really good for our optimal health, and we need both. So, the separation that comes with that it's just, there's no need for it because we are given tools, and, these are all tools to help us live a better and happier life. So I'm so thankful, and I think that a lot of people who have gone alternative or holistic is because they've had a really, really rough journey. And then they had to figure it out themselves because one thing doesn't just work. There's so many different things out there that work together, and you have to find what works best for you. And that's what we do, the three of us, with individuals who are looking for that support and just can't seem to find the right one. We've walked the the path, and we also researched and studied what is the best thing to support you in your healing journey. So Thank you so much, Gina, for your time and your beautiful story. I love hearing it. It's very inspiring. And Megan, of course, I love being with you and your wisdom. And thank you again for this powerful health hack. Now we're just going to end it with Gina's health hack for today.
Okay, mine is so simple. I love that at the beginning you talked about, simple health hacks. Mine is walking. Walking. I walk every day. When it's not raining. It rains a lot here in Kentucky, which I wasn't aware of. But I do get out and walk every day. I love, I heard recently if once you stop moving, you stop living, basically. You have to move your body every day. So even if you don't walk, like do something, yoga, gardening, play tennis, Pilates, whatever, anything, you have to move your body every day or things start to stop. And, you may have heard sitting is the new smoking. So that's why, again, you have to get moving. I like to walk outside a lot because I'm out in nature and I'm getting vitamin D, which is so important. So many people are deficient in vitamin D. But if you don't have a park like I do, because the other thing is when I'm walking here, I get to see deer and I get to see rabbits and squirrels and butterflies. It's so cool. It's so cool to see nature while I'm out in it. But if you're somebody who hasn't moved in a while, walking is the easiest thing to get started. Just try walking around the block one time. Um, Park your car as far away from the store as possible, and then you're getting, some walking in there. So there's things that you can do. You can walk your dog in the morning or at night, more than just, letting him out on the leash to, do his business in the front yard. Like actually walk the dog, a little bit further. And so those are some tips for walking if you don't if you haven't done anything.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Gina, for your beautiful journey and your dedication to helping transplant recipients thrive. And it's nothing short of amazing, obviously. And Megan, your deep knowledge of herbal and plant medicine is such a gift to anyone looking for natural ways to heal and find balance. And if you're a postpartum mom, please come to me, even if it's 2 to 3 years down the road and you're still having those exhaustion problem and just can't get rid of that postpartum weight. So for everyone watching, remember healing is a journey, and sometimes the simplest habits like daily walking or using the right herbs can make a huge difference. So if you want to learn more or connect with either one of us, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to support and help any way we can. And if you found this session value in today's episode, please like, share, and tag a friend who would use this inspiration. We'll be back next week with more expert tips. We actually will have a beautiful um, person who is an expert with water. So I can't wait for her to get on and really tell us about why water is so important in our life. Thank you again, everyone. Until next time, please be kind to yourself, and we'll talk soon.